Hello awesome developers and welcome back to another awesome React Native project. In this video we are going to build an expense tracker app using Expo and React navigation for the navigation thing. So here you can see we have a working demo of our expense tracker app. So this is the main home screen where you are presented, where the user will be presented with a hello, and then he would see this spend so far view where he would get a summary of how much he have spent till date. And now here we have our individual expense item. Okay, so it is fully scrollable. Okay, so and these are divided by categories, plus you have dates, on what date you spent how much money, and this is for the money, and this is for the category, and this is the category icon. Okay, and let me quickly walk you through all of this app. So here we have this create section where you can add a new expense. So here you can enter your amount, and then here you can enter your title for what you spent, and then from here you can choose a default category. Initially over here you can see we have already a pre-selected category, right? So now you can choose any one category from over here. So this is a modal screen that is opening from bottom to top, and you can close it from here as well. Okay, so you can choose any of one select category. I will show you. And other than that, we have this inside screen where you will see whatever money you have spent. Okay, and you can see this beautiful donut chart. So we will be using a library for that, to create it. And this looks amazing, right? So over here you will see it in percentages, and over here you will see your exact category on where you are spending your money, plus how much percentage it is of the total spent you have done. Okay, so now let me just quickly show you how you can add a category. So let's say I spent $67 on something, and it was, let's say, for a party. And if I hit add expense, the data would get added instantly. See, okay, so our $67 has been added, and this spend so far is already updated, is also updated. Now in the inside screen also you can see it is updated. Okay, so this is how over here also it is added. So this is how you can create this beautiful expense tracker app. So if this excites you, then you can definitely watch this tutorial completely. And here are the things that you are going to learn. You will learn how to create a fresh new Expo project. Plus you will learn how to set up nested navigation. As you can see in this video, in this screen, we have these nested navigations, right? We have this bottom tab bar, plus we have this stack based screen. So you will learn how we can arrange that, and you will work with modal screens. Then you will see navigation patterns, like from here, as soon as you select any category, you can see it is getting updated. So how you are sending data from this screen back to your previous screen from where you came. So you will learn this pattern as well. Plus you will learn context API, so that you can handle global state. We are adding category from here, we are adding expense from here, but it is being updated in this list. So you will learn how we can update the state, and also you can using the context API. And also you will see how we can use this particular data in anywhere in our app. For example, these expenses list, it is being shown over here as well, right? So how it is being done? It is being done using context API. Okay, so this is a great tool to add to your skill set. And also you will learn saving and getting data from the sync storage. So we are saving and getting data from a sync storage because we need to persist the data. If I reload the app, this data, it won't be lost. Okay, so if you don't use async storage, because currently we are not using any database, right? So async storage is a nice tool to save data to your local storage, to persist the data. And now also we will work with React Native gifted charts, which is the library being used for initializing this donut chart. Okay, so there are a lot of stuff to learn. And if you like this demo, then I would urge you to like this video as well and start watching this and building this expense tracker app. So guys, now let us start creating our Expo project. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna write this command npx create Expo app at the rate latest, and then followed by our template flag. So this template flag, it will basically gives us a few options which we can choose from. So let us say it. The first one is default. So it will, as it says, it will include tools recommended for most app developers, and it would be like pre-filled with the navigation like export router, etc. and TypeScript, and there are several other options as well, but for this particular tutorial we are going to choose the blank one, and I would highly recommend you to please choose the blank one as well so that you can smoothly follow this tutorial. All right, now let us click on blank. And what is your app name? So let us keep it Expensio, and once we hit enter, it will download and extract the project files. It will do a npm install, which of course takes some time, so let us wait for few seconds. Yeah, so it says our project is ready. You can ignore these warnings for now, and it gives us some instruction that go to cd Expensio, which is your project name, and run any of these following commands. So if you're using Android, you can definitely run npm run Android, and in case of iOS like me, you can choose npm run iOS. So first let us head over to our actual project, and I will run npm run iOS. So it will start the macro bundler, and it will gives us a QR code to scan. So what happens is, like, if you have installed Expo in your mobile application, then what you can do is you can scan this QR code, and that your app, your project, it will run on your real device. But I have my Xcode and Android setup done, so I can, like, I would prefer using a simulator instead. You can definitely go ahead by running this project in your actual device. And let me just press refresh so that it clears the cache and actually loads the actual project that we are working on. So here you can see we have a text which is open up app.js to start working on your app. This is coming from our latest project that we have created. So let me just grab this project inside my VS Code. Yeah, here we have, and let me just quickly cut this. So here we have a basic boilerplate done. We have an assets folder where we have pre-built images, then we have a node modules, then we have a gitignore file where you can keep all the things that you do not want to push to GitHub. Then we have an app.js file from where this particular line is coming up. So if I change it, hello React Native, you will see it got instantly updated, right? And let me just cut these errors and warnings. Yeah, so it got instantly updated. And then we have app.json where you can see we have the name of the app, and then we have the configs for splash screen. And we, like, whatever configs we need to add, we can add it from here. Okay, so in this project we don't need it, but in case if you are building something, and if you are installing any external libraries, if they have some steps that you need to add something in your app.json, then you can do that in this file. Okay, so it has the version of our app, the icon, and this new arc enabled, and a lot of other things. And then we have this index.js file where we import our app, which is this. Okay, so this is the main entry point. You can see main, and it has the entry point. So if you want to change the entry point, you will basically be changing this. But in this particular tutorial, we are not going to change any entry point. We'll just start with whatever it is given to us. And these are some scripts that you can run while working on this project. So we'll be using some of them. Okay, but the main core thing to understand is that we basically set up a project and we understood what are the files and folders, and now we are going to install some packages. So like, the packages that I'm talking about are related to navigation, because as you might have seen in the demo that we have two types of navigation. One is a stack navigation, where, like, we can go from one screen like hello React Native, and if we have a button over here which says next, we can go to the another screen. Okay, so it would be like from going left to right. So that's it, that is basically a stack screen. They're stacked on top of each other. And other than that, we have a bottom navigation like this inside. You might have seen in the demo, like, we had three bottom tabs. So these are the two navigations we have, and this is called a nested navigation. So for that we are going to install some libraries, and I have already added those libraries. So let me just open a terminal in this VS Code itself, and I will add npm I, and I will list three libraries. One is React Navigation Native. It is coming from the React Navigation library itself, which is used for navigation in React Native. And another one, the other package is Native Stack. It is used to create stack navigation. And another one is Bottom Tabs, which is used to create bottom tabs. Okay, so these are the three core libraries that we need to use. And yeah, now let us hit enter. Okay, all these are installed. See, here we have all these installed. So now we are going to create our navigation flow of our app first, because if we correctly set up our navigation flow, everything else would be like easy, it would go smooth. But in this particular tutorial we have two navigations, which is stack and bottom navigations. Okay, so nested navigation is basically the practice of rendering a navigator inside a screen of another navigator. Okay, this is the main line that you need to understand, and this creates a parent child relationship between them. So in our case, we'll first create a stack navigator, which will be our root navigator, and inside it we'll call our tab navigator, which is the bottom tabs, as one of our screens. And do not worry if you are not able to understand what I'm saying. Once we start coding it out, it will all make sense. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to create a folder, which is src, and inside it we are going to create a folder called screens. And okay, inside it, yeah, and we are going to create another folder, is components, right? And let us just quickly create two screens, home.js, and another one would be create.js. Okay, I didn't spell it right. And of course we can create another one, which is profile.js, and another one which is insights, insights.js. Cool. So now you might be wondering why I'm creating four screens. So let me explain it to you. Home, Insight, and Create. The top three screens are the part of bottom tab. And this profile.js, it is not going to be used in our tutorial, but I have created it to explain to you what is stack navigation. Okay, so let us just quickly write the boilerplate code. I'm using RNFES, and this is coming from an extension called ES7 React Redux snippets. So you can search in the extension tab of this VS Code and install it. And as soon as you press RNFES, it will give you a boilerplate code. Cool. So now this is done. Okay, and now what we are going to do is we are going to create another folder inside this src. It would be called what should we call it? We can call it navigation. Cool. And inside it we'll have a file, app navigator.js. Cool. And now inside it, what we're going to do is we're going to create a function. What do we call this? We can call it app navigator. Yeah, so app default function, you can call it app navigator. And do not worry, there will be a lot of uh, uh, functions that would be created, and do not fret about it. I will explain you each and everything. So let us just keep this function as it is. But the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a inner navigator. Yeah, we are doing that only, app.navigator. So for that, what we are gonna do is, here what would happen is we'll have a stack screen, and inside stack we will call our bottom tabs also as one of the screens. So these two lines, they are important in understanding what nested navigation does. So as I said that nested navigation mean inside the one stack we call screens from another stack. So those screens act as a screens itself. Okay, so let us just yeah, so here we need inside the stack screen we need our bottom tabs, right? But we haven't created it yet, so let us start creating the bottom tabs first. So for creating the bottom tabs, what we are gonna do is I will call a method tab create bottom tab navigator, and this is coming from the library that we had installed. So this is the tab method, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna create a function called my tabs like this. You can call it bottom tabs as well. I'm just calling it my tabs, and here we are going to return a tab navigator. You basically write it like this and dot navigator. So we have our tab navigator, and inside this tab navigator we basically do like this. We call tab screens tab and dot screen. So on the outside we did tab navigator, in the inside we did tab dot screen, and inside this tab dot screen you can call your screens. So we can call, I think, home, because as you might have seen in the demo, home was our bottom tab, right? So component, it would be home. This is coming from the screen that we created over here. Okay, so home, and I will auto import it. Okay, so this is one of the screens that we have created, and other than that, what else can we do? Yeah, and of course we do not have anything inside it, like over here we do not have anything, so I guess doing it like this way is also fine. Yeah, cool. And yeah, and another screen is the create screen, right? Create, it is also coming from here, and we're gonna call it create. And we have another screen called insights, insights, insights like this. So we have our like tabs ready, bottom tabs ready. And as I said again, what we do is inside the stack we'll call our bottom tabs as one of the screens. So here in this app navigator we are going to create our stack navigator basically. So let us do that like this. But first we need to, just like tab, we need to create a variable, a reference basically to create this stack, create native stack navigator. Yeah, okay, yeah, it is already imported like this. And we will do stack like this, and we will do navigator, and inside this we are again going to do stack, and we're going to call screen. Okay, and here what we can do is we can pass name would be, or let us call it bottom tabs so it makes sense. And the component, okay, now understand, here our component was home screen because we were calling home screen. Here it was create screen because we were calling create screen. Here it was inside screen because we were creating inside screens. But here we are creating bottom tabs, so what should be the component? The component would be this particular thing, because in React functions can a component only, right? So we can pass this as a component like this, very simple stuff. So now these bottom tabs, these bottom tabs, it will act like a screen, okay, inside this stack navigation. And other than this screen, I told you that I had created this profile screen as a testing purpose, so it would be profile, and like this profile. Okay, and yeah, so our navigation is done. So what I want to explain is that inside this stack navigator we have a stack screen and we have another stack screen which which basically calls the bottom tabs. Okay, so this is the main point to understand. And but now you can see we have nothing on the screen, and the reason for that is we are not calling this app navigator function inside our app.js file. So let me remove everything, and we just call it like this. But it won't work, it will give us an error, and we'll see what the error is. So okay, let me just refresh it. The error is not showing because of hot reloading. Okay, it did not give any error. Okay. Oh damn, because we are not returning it, right? We are not returning anything from here. And now it might, yeah. See, this was the error that I was talking about, and it is saying that you need to wrap your app, you need to wrap this navigator, this particular navigator inside a navigation container. So this is the navigation container, okay? So remember this, that any navigator that you create, you need to wrap that inside the navigation container. And now you can see we have our three bottom tabs piled up, like home, create, insights, and we have header as well on the top, which we'll fix in a while. But for now, just like embrace this, like we have create a nested tab navigator, okay? And now inside this home screen we have our bottom tabs, but like you might be wondering, hey, where is the stack navigation, where is that going on? So let us do that as well. So for that I will create a pressable from React Native, and it would be text, or let us not just pressable, let us call button, because pressable, in pressable I will have to add styles as well to show you, to show it like a button. But in when we are using button, it would be a basic style would be given, I guess. So on press, what we are going to do is we are going to navigate to profile. Let me just import navigation. Navigation dot navigate profile. Title prop of button must be string. Okay, we haven't given a title, so profile. Yeah. So now see what is happening is I destructured this navigation prop. So in React navigation, what happens is whenever you register any screen with inside the stack, like inside, like even if it is a screen, you need to register it inside your navigators, right? And once it is registered inside any of the navigators, you get access to this navigation method. So this navigation method, it basically helps us to navigate. So in on this navigation method we can attach this function navigate, and then we can pass whatever screen we want to navigate to. Okay, so here we want to navigate to profile screen, which is a stack screen. Remember this, which is a stack screen. Okay, it is not part of the bottom tabs. So this is the navigation that I'm trying to show you. So let if I click it, see, we went to the profile screen, we went to the profile screen, we went to the profile screen. I'm showing it again and again because so that you understand this is a stack based navigation. Okay, and these three are bottom tabs based navigation, and these are combinedly created to these are combined to add a navigation to our app. All right, now we need to hide these top headers, right? So for that, what we can do is we can individually hide them, or what we can do is we can uh, on whatever screens, let me explain you. Here we can see header on the home, here we can see headers on the create screen, here we can see headers on the inside screen. So if you just want, let's say you want it to be visible on the home screen, you want the bottom tabs header to be visible, so you would just go to the create screen over here, and you will write header shown equals to false. Okay, so in whatever screen you want to hide the header, you will write that specifically. But let's say here in our case we want that we do not want to show headers on any of the screens, so you can attach that property directly on the navigator like this, screen options, and header shown equals to false. So I just copy pasted, but let us write it again. Screen options and header shown. Okay, it takes an object false. See, the header is gone, right? Home, profile, oh sorry, create and this. Okay, so this and this particular bottom tabs, it is coming from here. So let us keep that. But if you just want to hide, I can show you the screen options, and similar to this we can do. See, it is also gone from every screen. But for the base understanding, let us just keep it. We'll add our own header if you want, but let us just keep it. Okay, and now what else we need to do is we will fix these icons as we go ahead in the tutorial, but my main point is to start building the home screen. So let us now start building the home screen. So inside this home screen, what I will do is I will just comment this one out because we do not need it. And yeah, what we need is we need to create a header over here, right? So let us just start building it. So we are going to create a view, and then we are going to add some text. So the text would be hello, and then I would add some emoji, which is this hi, yes. And below this we have another text, and this text would be for start tracking your expenses easily. Good. Yeah, so we have our text. Now let us style this particular view. So for styling we are going to use Tailwind. I think we haven't yet installed it, this library. So like we are going to install a package called npm I twrnc, and this is basically a utility class for Tailwind. Okay, and it is easy to set up. You just need to install the Tailwind library, and then you can basically grab the Tailwind method like this, and then you can start adding your style. So here what I'm gonna do is we're going to like do the cannot flex one. We are gonna give some internal padding which is px5, and from top it would be 5, and from bottom it would be 3. Okay, okay, and let me just close this terminal. Yeah, so this is cool. And also what else we need to do is for this particular view, this is our outer view, right? Okay, let us just handle it later. Now we need to create the summary card, right? You might have seen it in the demo. It was a black colored summary card. So for that what we are gonna do is we're gonna add some style again, not here, and again it would be from Tailwind. It would be a black colored view. The border would be 3xl, padding would be 6, my5 items center, and a large shadow. Yeah, this is fine. It currently looks a bit weird because we haven't added content inside it. So let us just add the content as well. And the content would say spent so far. Okay, it is not visible because obviously we haven't added styles to it. So let us do that as well. Again from Tailwind we are going to do text base text gray 400. Yeah, this is now visible, right? And what else do we have? We have the amount, right? So for now let us just keep it, let's say $400. Yeah, that is visible as well, but we need to change the styling. So the color would be white, and it would be 4xl with margin. The margin from top would be 2, and font bold. Yeah, this looks fine to me. And yeah, we have this we have some spacing missing from the horizontal axis, so we are gonna do margin x of 5. Yeah, this looks cool now, right? Yeah, so we have spent so far and $400. Now what we need to do is uh, I feel, yeah, one thing I forgot is we need to add styles to this text also, right? So it would be style tailwind, not like that. Tailwind, and it would be text for Excel, font bold, and text would be black. Yeah, this looks good now. And for this particular text, we are gonna tailwind with text base. Text would be gray 500, margin top would be 1. Yeah, this looks good now, right? Because we have added contrast to these two fonts, right? So contrast is basically you can create contrast by either adding different colors or by creating different font related text. I mean, for one text you can increase the text size, and for the other one you can decrease it, and you can add different shades, different colors to it. So this is how you can create contrast in designing, so it looks visually appealing. Okay, so this is the design tech you can add to your apps as well. Now let us move ahead. We are done with the introductory text, and then we are done with the summary card. This summary card basically shows how much you have spent so far. And now we are going to add flat list. So the flat list would be basically imported from React Native, and what we are gonna do is we are gonna pass data to it. For now, let us just pass 1 2 3 because we do not have data yet. Okay, we will be passing the expenses data over here, but currently we do not have it, so let us just keep it like that only. And it would take a render item function that would basically call the expense item card. We currently do not have the expense item card as well, but we'll create it in a while. And we can destructure item, so this single item would be this individual item. Okay, so once we have the expenses data, it would be an array of object, and each object would be treated as an individual item. So now what we need to do is, to this expense item card we need to pass the particular item like this. Okay, and now it is complaining that expense item card doesn't exist. Yeah, so we know that we will create that in a while, but we need a key extractor prop as well. So it would be item dot, let us just keep it as item. Ideally it should be item dot id, but we do not have any object, we have single item, so let us keep it like that as well. You can also comment it for a while. Once we have the actual object you can add that. Okay, and then we have a container style. It would have a padding bottom, or like you can use tailwind also here, but I just wrote it like this because I wanted to show you that you won't face any issues if you mix tailwind styles with like this internal styles. Okay, this is just way of doing things. And then we have a list empty component. So this is a very like this is obviously a very basic prop, but it improves the user experience. Like when you don't have any, when a user won't be having any initial expenses. Okay, let's say he landed on our app for the first time and he won't be having any expense item. So instead of showing them a blank screen, what we can do is we can show a empty list component. So we are going to build that as well. So let me just call it empty list like this. Okay, and again it will complain that empty list doesn't exist. So let us go inside our components folder and create empty list first, like this. Write rnfes, and this is again the shorthand snippet. And now we are gonna create this empty list component. So for that, again I will use Tailwind, and I will do flex one, justify center, justify center, items center, then padding of 8, margin top 10, and the text would be a pencil icon, this one, yes. And we will have some more text. It would be like if we do not, let's say we have a title, okay, like for what this expense is created, otherwise we will show no expenses yet. And then we will have another title which would be for the message. So if there is no message coming up, we will add a message that add a new expense to see it on your list. I will explain you what is going on in a while. Let us just we have home over here, and let us just export it, import it basically. So expense item card doesn't exist, it is complaining for it. So if we comment it, what we are gonna see, okay, we are not seeing the empty list component as well, okay, because of course we have commented that thing. Yeah, I mean this list item, it will only render if the data is empty, right? So let us just test it out. So if we have this empty array, yeah, now it is saying that the title and this doesn't exist. So what happens is that this empty list component, it will take a title and it will take a message. Okay, so now understand this title and message, these are the UI that you want to show. I want to show the title that you don't have any expenses yet, and I will add a message below, add a new expense to see it on your list. Okay, so if you are not passing any title or message from the screen itself, like from here itself, then by default it will start showing this. Okay, but let's say if you pass create an expense like this, so it started showing this one. So this is a basic React component, right? But let us just keep the default, like it will just show this one. Okay, uh, so by default, like you can add this particular thing over here as well. Like if we do not pass any what do we say, title from the screen, it will just show the default title like this. Okay, and for message as well, you can pass it like this. So this is basically like a nicer approach that you can pass the default props. Okay, so now we need to style these text also, right? So let us just style them. Text Excel, and we have font bold, then we have a text gray of 800 and margin bottom 2. Yeah, this is cool. Okay, okay, my bad, we need to add it to the title and not the icon. We can, my bad. Yeah, this looks cool now, right? And for the icon, what we can do is, let me just again paste it. We can, what styles we can have text 6XL and margin bottom as 4. Yeah, this icon looks good now, right? And for the message as well, we can add some styles like a text base, text gray 500, and text center. Yeah, this all looks good now, right? So yeah, so now understand that if we do not have any expenses list yet, which is data is empty, so this component would get rendered. Okay, so it basically automatically identifies that hey, the list is empty, render this component instead of this one. Okay, so now let us start creating expense item card as well. It will go over here only, expense item. Yeah, so over here, what we are gonna do is we will receive an item object, right? And to this item object, what we are gonna do is, as in the UI, you might have seen we had a icon and we had a title, a category, and the expenses, right? And a date also. So these were all the five things. Let me just write it. Title, and we have icon. We had like category, we had amount and date. So we are going to get all these things from this item object. So now let us start creating it. So this is our main view and we will add some styles, tailwind, and it would be bg white, rounded to excel. We will have a padding of 4, margin horizontal 5, from bottom it would be 3. We're gonna do flex row, justify between, items would be aligned center, and we will have a small shadow. Okay, like do not worry about the styling. Once it starts appearing on the screen you would see it. So now what we can do, yeah, we have our main view. Now what we can do is we can create another view. So this view will render our icon. Okay, so it would be like this. And let me just, because you are not able to see it on the screen, so let me just do it like this so that at least you are able to see things on the screen. Expense item card is not defined. Let me define it. Yeah, see, now guys understand, we have three data. Consider them as three different expenses. So for each expense we have three rows over here, right? And currently this is work in progress, so you will start seeing everything, do not worry about that. So we have flex row and item center. Now we are going to create another view, and let's add some style like tailwind, and it would have width of 12, height 12, rounded excel, a gray background, and this view is for the icon. I mean, obviously there will be other things as well, but let us just keep it for the icon for now. And let us just keep any icon for now, for example food. Consider that this expense is was created for food. Okay, yeah, so we have this. There you go. Look, it looks so cool, right? You have an icon and behind this there is a slight subtle background that is visible. So how this background was created is by this particular view, this thing. Okay, and now like we have this icon, what we can do is we can, this icon is created. Now we can create another view. This would be for the text, item dot title. So let us call it food. Yeah, perfect. And now we need to style this particular text. So what we're gonna do is style tailwind, and it would be text base, font bold, text gray of 800. Yeah, that's good, right? And now what else we can do is Okay, so we have rendered these two things, right? Now we need category. So again, we'll take a view for category and we will add a style. So for the category, what we are gonna do is we are gonna give a margin top row 1, px2, py1. Padding horizontal is 2, padding vertical is 1. Rounded it would be lg self start. Okay, and inside this view we have the text. It would be category. So what category we can have? We can have like food and drinks for now. Cool. I think the background is missing, right? So for that we can do bg orange of 400. Yeah, now this is cool. Like, of course we will change it in a while. This background color would be dynamically as per the category, but let us just keep it like this for now. And like here, what else do we need to do is we need to add like styles to this item as well. It would be small, bold, and the text would be gray. Perfect. And also it should come ideally like below this food uh, title. So I think we missed on something. We have this main view, then we have this item center. They are aligned in row in this particular view. Yeah, so this category view, this would just come in inside this particular view only. Yeah, now this looks great. Okay, so we have this align and accept the category. Now we have rendered the category. What else do we have? Now we are going to render the date. So for that, let me create another view, and we will have like the amount and date. So we are going to add two text. So it would be like the item. So let's say uh, 300 $3,000, and this would be the date. So we can keep it like 2024. The month would be 12, the date would be 08, like this. Okay, it has to be string. Yeah, so we have our amount and date as well. Now let us just style it. So for styling, again we are gonna use Tailwind method, and it would be items. And for this text we are gonna use Tailwind again, and it would be text base font bold, and text would be black. Cool. And for the date again use Tailwind. It would be text extra small, text gray 500, and margin top would be 1. Yeah, see, again we created a contrast, right? So now see how cool this particular expense card looks like, right? It just we need to change the color on the category color, and it would just look amazing. So now I hope you followed this tutorial till over here. Now obviously, like, this content is not dynamic. This is not coming from the actual expenses data that you created, because we hard coded the entire data. So now let us start working on this particular create screen so that we can create actual data and render it inside this particular screen. So yeah. So before moving to the create screen, okay, before moving to this screen, one thing that I would like to kind of refactor is the like the UI that we created, I personally feel that I am not satisfied with this. Like the UI is great, but the data that we are using, like this, I'm not satisfied with this. So what I did is I got this expenses data. Okay, now do not fret that like in the middle of the tutorial you bring some new data. It's not like that. You can definitely go ahead and you can get it from ChatGPT as well. So ideally you basically create a constant.js file and keep your dummy data over there, but it's fine. I have kept it over here. So it is basically an expenses array. It is an array of objects basically. So each object contains an ID which uniquely identifies that particular expense item. Okay, and then it have a icon, a title, category for which the expense is created, that amount, the date, and a particular color. Okay, so each of the object has these property. So we are going to use this particular expense data. Okay, so instead of this empty array, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass it like this expenses data. Okay, and now you see there are like the items increase but the data is not changed because we have hard coded it like this, right? And I personally didn't like this, that let's not hard code. At least for now we can work with dummy data, right? So yeah, here we are like using expenses data, and now this would, I would also uncomment this and it would be item.id, because since now we have a proper data and each item has an id, so we can use this as a key extractor prop. And what else do we need to do? Yeah, now we need to this expense item card, it has uh, like the proper data. So what we can do is we can do it as item.icon, and see the icon is changed, right? Cool. And for this we will do item dot title. Okay, the title is also changed, so all this is coming from this expense data, like here. Okay, title, category, etc. So and now here we need item dot category. Yeah, the category is also changed, right? Food, transportation, entertainment. And what else do we need? Yeah, pricing. So it is item dot amount, 700, 300, but we need to add like we need to add basically like what currency it is. Okay, so for that what we can do is we can add a dollar amount. Perfect. So we have all that. The only thing that is missing is the date and the color. So like for the color, what we can do is we can additionally render color on this category, right? This particular category, like over here. So for color, what we can do is mm, where's the category? Yeah, over here, right? So when we need to do conditionally, what we can do is we can wrap this inside an array like this, and then we can pass an object like this. So background color, it would be item dot color. See, now it got changed perfectly fine, right? We have the specific color added to each category, and now see, this looks like a lot amazing, right? Okay, so these were the changes that I wanted to make, because you know, before moving to the create screen, why not like complete the home screen itself. And yeah, we are not able to scroll properly, I think, so we'll fix that in a while, but let us just fix the date and the amount, etc. over here. So what else do we need? Yeah, total spent is also not correct, right? So let us just correct that as well. So for total correct, what we are gonna do is we are gonna make a variable called total spent, and to our expenses data we are going to use reduce. Reduce is a JS method, and it takes an arrow function. Okay, and it basically takes an arrow function, and it it takes two initial parameter. One is sum and another one is item. So sum is basically like a accumulator. Okay, how to explain is that it will loop over each item. Okay, it will grab each item and it will keep that item added to sum. So the item is basically amount. So sum plus item dot amount. And what one additional parameter that we can pass is the initial value. So initially it would be 0. And now to this show this, what we're gonna do is, where it was, like, yeah, over here what we are gonna do is add a dollar sign, and it is total spent dot to fixed, and we'll pass 2. 2 is like for rounding off up to 2 digits. If it is like 1, it will round off till 1 digit over here, like there would be 1 digit after the decimal. So if you can leave it empty, it's fine, but I personally like to, because generally it is written like that. So see, we have $1,850. Now this is the correct sum, this is not hard coded. This calculation is being done on this particular data. Okay, now yeah, now shall we move ahead? Yeah, we need to fix this uh, cutting of this last item, right? So for that, what we can do is we can add Tailwind and we can give it flex 1. Yeah, now it's fine. See, earlier it was getting struck, now it is fine. So yeah, I'm like quite satisfied with this screen. So now let us move ahead, and now we are going to create this create screen. Okay, so let me just show you the create screen, and so that I have taken a screenshot so that I can show you, so that you can get a mental model of how the screen would look like. So let me just grab it over here. Okay, and this is our expense screen. Okay, so now let us understand this UI. It has a title, then like a subtext, then it has 3 input fields. One is for enter amount, one is for title, like what you spent on, and one is the category. So here you can see one category is by default shown, okay, which is food, and then we have a add expense button. Okay, so this is the screen that we need to create now. So now let us move ahead and create this one. So now let us start creating this create expense screen. Okay, so the very first thing that we are going to do is, inside this view, what we are gonna do is we are gonna call this scroll view, and inside this scroll view we are going to create 3 sections. Okay, so I will write it up like that. One would be header section, another one would be form section, or let's call it expense form section, and the third one would be footer section, because sometimes they get confused, like when we have nested views, things get confused while explaining and even when you say it. So it's better to like divide things into logical sections. So for header section, what we are gonna do is we have like, we just saw in the UI, right? We had a title, add new expense, and then we had a subtext, right? So we are gonna do the same thing. So I will just create 2 text. The first one would say add new expense, and let me just copy it. And the second one would say enter the details of your expense to help you track your spending. I think it is nice, spending. Okay, so, and now over here let's style it Tailwind, and the font would be 3XL. Yes, and it would be bold, and it's already black, so no need of giving it, but let us write it explicitly. Okay, so add new expense styling is done, and now let us do the styling of the subtext. It would be text base. Okay, and gray, we'll keep it gray to create a contrast. cool. And margin top would be 2, and from bottom let's give it 8. We'll adjust it later if the main goal in designing is to give as much white space as you can give initially, and then you can adjust accordingly. Okay, and now the content is sticking like to the entire width. So what we can do is we can get content container style, and again it would be like Tailwind, and let's keep up adding of 6. Yeah, 6 looks fine. Okay, so yeah, the basic setup is done. We very smoothly added the header. Now let us move to the form section part. So inside this form section we will have 3 views. Okay, like the first text input, then we are gonna have a second text input. What happened to the comment? Okay, and then we have a third input. It would be for category, like for category selection. Okay, so yeah, now let us start creating. Again, I have wrote too many comments, but I hope it won't create any issue. So we'll start with a view and we'll give it a style. Let's give it a margin bottom. I like we will be needing it, and the first thing that we are gonna do is text. Okay, it would be enter amount. This is our first text input, enter amount. So here you see we have this text, and for the to grab the input from the user we are going to use text input, which is an inbuilt React Native component. So we'll style that in a while. So what all things can we give? Let us just give placeholder for a while. Maybe it would be like this. Okay, so yeah, placeholder is visible over here. Okay, and yeah, let us just start giving the style. Tailwind, and what styles can give? We give border 2, border blue 500, or it's not needed though, but let us keep it like 4, and rounded corners, and text would be large. There we go, we have a super awesome like text input, but they are getting like stuck together. So for that we let's style the text. It would be text also small, so let us make it large. Enter amount, font would be semi bold. Let's keep the text as gray, and of course margin like this. Yeah, now we have proper spacing. So our first text input is ready, not ready, instead I would say text input is not ready, it's need a value. So value would come from the state that we are going to declare in a while. So for now let us just keep it in string like this, and on change text it would be like keep it empty also. Okay, and or let us just start creating state as well. So const amount and set amount equals to use state, and initially like you can give it a null value because initially it would be empty, or you can give an empty string as well. Okay, so what syntax error? Oh yeah, it is giving syntax error for this. So now you can remove the strings, and on change text we can write set amount. Okay, so now let me explain it to you. We have a value prop on text input, and we have attached the amount which is coming from here. Okay, and set amount which is coming from here, to this on change text. So whenever you will add a new amount, as soon as you start typing, the state will keep on updating. Okay, so yeah, This was the thing that I wanted to explain. And what else do we have? Like, we have another text input. Now let us start creating that text input as well. So for that, let's create another view, and it would have the same styles. And yeah, like you might be wondering that why I'm not creating a custom text input for like this and then using it. I mean, that's fine as well, but I'm just trying to be very a beginner friendly in this tutorial. I do not want to like take away this part and then pass functions into that and like move the state from here to there. It is confusing initially, but this is also fine. I mean, the state should be as much local to the component, so it's fine as well, nothing to worry about. Okay, and this is not like a bad practice, of course. Like, ideally you should create a custom component, custom text input component, but it's fine. Like, you are not missing, you are not losing on anything. Okay, and for this title, let me show you again. So we need to create this particular text input, right? Okay, so let us do that. So we can take the same styles like this, we can call it title. There we go, we have it. And for text input, let us copy this, and placeholder would be, let us change the placeholder. What was it for? There we go. And let us let us remove the border blue, because okay, or let's say border gray, not 500, let us 300. Yeah, this is fine, because otherwise it feels like all of them are focused, right? So blue indicates that all of them are focused, so we do not want that. We will keep it simple. Okay, yeah, this is fine. And what else do we have? Of course, we are not using amount here, so let us create another state variables. Title, set title, and it can be an empty string initially. And title, yeah, over here you can say title. Okay, title, and it can be title, set title. Cool. So yeah, these two like fields are done. Okay, we will create a category section in a while, because the category input, it is not simple. Okay, let me explain you why it is not like very basic. So let me again bring my screenshot. See, so when you're going to click on this category section now, there would be another screen that would be opened, and this is a modal type of screen. And we need to select a particular category from here. It can be food, family, or whatever, and then we need to pass the selected category back to this screen. Okay, so that's why I decided to create it separate, so that I can create this particular piece of code and this particular screen together, so that the flow doesn't get disrupted and you can understand it better. Okay, so for now, let us create this button. Okay, so in the footer section, we are going to create a button using pressable, and this pressable would have a style tailwind. It would be black, and also first let me add the text. It would be add expense. Pressable doesn't exist. Now we have it. And bg black, it can have a padding of 4. That's cool. Rounded lg, and margin from top, it would be 8. Cool. Or let us give the padding as 6. Yeah, now it looks good. And to this particular text, the text is not visible, right? What we will do is we'll give text white, text center, and text lg, and font would be bold. Yeah, now that's perfect. And on the press of it, what we are gonna do is, on press we are going to create a method call handle expense. We have not created this method, we'll create it in a while. Handle add expense, and it gives us an error that this method doesn't exist. Of course we know, so let's create that. Yeah, so now we have created this method, but you know it the functionality won't work completely fine, because of course, like, because we haven't created the category screen yet. But let me just show you by logging the data. Amount, amount, and title. Okay, so as soon as we press this particular button, add expense, we'll see log over here. But you know, user can try pressing this add expense button before even entering the data. So that for that we can add some validations, simple validation, that if amount is not present, yeah, amount is not present, or if the title is not present, what we would do is we would simply return. Or just for logging, what we'll do is all fields are required, and we are not gonna just return, we will do alert. Okay, alert dot alert, and all fields are okay. Let me just copy paste it from here, and then we are gonna return. Yeah, so if amount and title are not present, it will return. And now let me just open my console. Let me reload the app once, and yeah, see, as soon as I hit the add expense button, we got all fields are required. Now let me add, let's say $200. It was for food. There you go, we have our amount and title as food. Okay, so yeah, and you know, like, this is a good practice, like, to first test the data inside the console instead of like directly connecting everything. We have our data, now we can like play with it, we can pass it to something else, we can pass it in any screen we want, or if we are calling a API over here, then we can send it to the API as well. So instead of directly hitting API, at least we'll get to know that the data is coming to us inside this function, and then we can hit our API. And of course this validation is much needed. Okay, yeah, so now now we need to create that category method, right? Category field basically. So yeah, let us start building that as well. So for that, what I'm gonna do is it would be the same view, it would have the same style for now, like this, and it would have like, we can just copy it from here. I think it would be much faster. And category, there you go, we have the label. Yeah, so this is the label, and now what we need to do is we are going to create a pressable, because that is clickable, right? That is not a text input exactly, that's a button that is going to land us to another screen. And inside this pressable we are going to have a text, and this text would be it would be the greater than, like, shall we use an emoji, or for now let us just keep it like this particular caret icon. Okay, and what else can we do over here? We need to show the default icon and category, right? So for that, what we are gonna do is we are going to create, should we create it, like, I'm just confused about something. Okay, we have a pressable, right? And inside this we can create a view, and inside this view we can pass text, and we can add an icon for now, simple icon, I mean food, and it would have a category name. Okay, yeah, this has to be a string. Yeah, see, we have a by default hard-coded category icon and category name. And now let us just style it quickly. Flex row and items would be center. Okay, flex row item center. It is somehow not working. Okay, yeah, items are flexed. Okay, my bad, I didn't see it worked. And yeah, displaceable also we need to add some styles. So let us work with that also. So let's give it a border, then border gray 400, cool, and padding would be 4, rounded XL, flex row, justify between, cool. Okay, justify between, like, let me just tell you once. See, we have these two items. One is this view, one is this text, which is this caret icon. So we need to create space between them. So we will give justify between like this. Okay, like this. Yeah, we have good spacing. And justify between, and what else? Items should be centered. Cool. Now we need to add stylings to these also, right? Because they doesn't look good as of now. So Tailwind, and what can we do? Text to Excel and MR3. Okay, and this would be, okay, sorry, Tailwind text LG. Yeah, the font is bigger. Text, no, color is fine. So text LG, and we have all this. Yeah, so I think this, I mean, it looks good. So we have the icon, the food, and but this carrot icon looks a little small, so let us add this particular style to it as well. Yeah, it got a bit bigger, or let us make it 2XL. Yeah, we'll choose a better icon, but I think for now let's keep it this way only. Yeah, so now, first of all, congratulations, you have just completed another screen. Okay, like we have 4 screens in total, and you have completed 2. The third screen would be where we can click on this particular food, and it would open a modal where we can choose category, and then we need to send the data back to this particular screen. And this is very interesting. You will learn React navigation pattern inside while implementing this. So now let us see how we can do that as well. So guys, now we will be start we'll start building our category screen. So it is basically a modal in React Native. So once you click on this particular category, like over here in this input, it will open a modal like this, and inside it we have a title, which is select category, and then we have subtitle, and then we have a list of categories that contain the icon for that particular category and the name of that category. It can be food, family, entertainment, travel, etc. And once, as soon as the user clicks on any of this category, like let's say food, the user should be navigated back to this create screen. Okay, because this is the ideal user experience we should give to the user. Once the user clicks on this, they should be navigated back to this particular screen, because how did the user arrive on this screen? From here itself, right? He was trying to add an expense, but then we while adding the category, we made him navigate from this screen to this one, so that he can select a category for adding that particular expense. Now once he has chosen the category, we want him to navigate back to this category screen with the selected data. Like if I have selected, like let's say, this entertainment, then over here entertainment, and the that specific icon for entertainment, it should be visible. Okay, we need to navigate the user back to this particular screen with the selected data. No matter whatever he has selected, he should have the we should have the like exact data that we have selected. Okay, so that we can manipulate with it or play with it. So this will be the flow. And let me discuss one more thing. So these are the goals that I have written so that you can understand better. We will create a modal screen and register it in the navigator. We'll see it like how we do it, and then we are going to build the UI for the modal screen, which I have discussed just now. And of course, like pass selected category back to the create screen, this is also we discussed. And then we are going to log the data in the console for now. Okay, so that like once we have the data inside our console, then we can go ahead and start implementing and showing it on the UI. But these are the main goals for this particular category screen. So let us start with it. Okay, so now let me create the category modal screen, and we are going to do that in this screens folder itself. So let me create another screen and let us call it not this category. Okay, category.js. So this will be a modal specific screen. Okay, modal screen. So now how do we, okay, let us just write the boilerplate for once. Category, yeah. And now how do we register it? So what happens is, inside this navigation, inside our app navigator, the whatever modal screen we are building, we need to define that as the part of the root stack. Okay, so this particular piece of code, it is the root stack. Okay, so like we have two stacks, one is the tab and one is this one, which contains tab and screen both. But this is the parent, or let's say root, or what we do call it is root stack. So the modal, it should be registered inside this. Okay, and it should be the last screen inside the stack we are registering it, which is the root stack. So you shouldn't place it like above it. Okay, so and these are not my own tips, these are given by the React navigation team itself, that how what are the best practices in order to build and register a modal screen. And this profile screen, this is basically not needed now, I have added it for testing purpose only, so let us delete it. And now we are going to register the modal screen. So for that we will duplicate this like this, and let us call it maybe category. And the component for this would be the okay, not modal, category screen that we created, right? Because we need to show this particular screen over here. And what else do we need to do is, there is another prop that we need to pass, which is options. So like all these are normal screens, right? And that profile screen, that was also a normal screen. But in order to create a modal screen, what we do is we use a prop called presentation, and here we write it as modal. And you can see there are a lot of other options as well. Okay, they are not coming now. Yeah, see, so we are not going to like test each of them. You can while working it out, you can test all of them, how does it behave. So with this modal presentation modal, what happens is, when you are going to open a modal, it will open it in a bottom to top approach. Okay, and the screen from which it has opened, that some part of that screen would be visible in the background. So this is the ideal flow of a modal screen. And now on the click of this particular category screen, here it should be opened. Okay, but now like we need to like attach the on press also to it. So let us do that. On press, we will create a function called handle category input. We can like name it like this. And now we need to create a function with the same name like this one only, like this. And here we will write our navigation logic, like how do we want to navigate. So we have the navigator, I think. Okay, we need to first grab the navigation, and then navigation dot navigate. and here we are going to write the category. Cool. Now let us test it out, but let me just recap. We created a function over here, handle category input, which will handle the press on this particular input field. Hence I named it like this. And you could have write the navigation logic over here itself, but I prefer it this way. And so here we are going to grab the navigation probe from here, like whatever screen you registered inside your app navigator, it has automatic access to this navigation probe, and you remember this. And on this we have attached this navigate method, and inside it we pass our screen name. So now let us test it out. Okay, it is not working. I think I need to restart the server. Nope, this is not working. Let us, there's something that we are missing. Handle category input. Let me just test it out if it is working. Pressed. It is not even getting pressed. So what might be the reason for that? Okay, yeah, we do not need to like add an arrow function. We can directly call it, because here we are doing it like this. It was my mistake. So now let us try it out. Yes, there you go. We have our category modal opened successfully, and see how this good looks, right? Just click on this and this opens. Isn't it great? So now let's start writing the category code. Okay. So yeah, now what we are gonna do is we will remove this text. We do not need it. So first of all, we are going to create a cross button, pressable, and it would be text like this. Pressable doesn't exist. Yeah, we have this cross. So sorry, like this is like the close button. On press of it, we can close this modal and go back to our own previous screen. Okay, so let us just style it. Text would be 2XL and font bold. Cool. And also we need to wrap this inside a view. So for that, what we can do is we can do like that. So on this pressable, I'm gonna add a on press event, and I will call the navigation dot go back. Navigation, again we need to extract it out. Navigation dot go back. Okay, this is fine, and let me just test it out. Yeah, see, it is working perfectly fine. Okay, so also now what we need to do is we need to add some spacing. So style Tailwind P5. Yeah, it looks good over here. And now we are going to create the text for it. Select category, and then selected category that we need to write the subtext, which is select a category that best describes what you spent money on. Cool. And now we need to style these two texts, right? So what we are gonna do is, again we are going to import Tailwind, and I will quickly write the styles. Text would be 3XL, font would be bold, text black, margin top 4. Okay, and for this category thing we are going to, okay, let me just to make it fast paced, let me just copy this. I will remove if there are any extra styles. Text would be base here, and the text would be gray 500, and from bottom let's keep the margin as 4. We do not need font bold for it. What else? Let's keep some margin from top as well. Yeah, this looks good, nice, right? We have again, just like in our previous screen, we added contrast, we added that same over here. And yeah, one thing also that I want to do is I do not want to show this default header. So let me just go over here and show header shown. I will call it as false. It didn't work. Let me just open it again. Okay, it didn't work. Header shown. Okay, it shouldn't come in string. Yeah, now it works, right? And this looks a lot better. So yeah, what else can we improve in this screen? I don't think the select category font is got bigger. Yeah, that's why I was wondering why it is not 3XL. Yeah, now it looks good. Okay, so we have the cross button, we have added the title and subtitle. Now let us move ahead. Now what we are gonna do is we are going to create a flat list. Okay, and what that flat list will do is we are going to render the categories over here. So let me just grab the data for categories, and do not worry, I will show you the data. So the data looks like this. Okay, so each category, it has a name, it has an icon, it has a color. And if you remember, in our home screen when we were rendering the expenses list, we had these three properties only, right? Name, icon, and color. So now we are going to make the category tabs based on this only. So for that, let us just start importing our flat list. And flat list have a data prop in which we can pass the category list, which we have just imported, categories, and we are keeping it in the same file, so no need to import. And I know some of might you would get triggered at why I'm keeping this dummy data in the same component file itself. You can definitely go ahead and create a data folder inside this src and or constant folder and keep your old data inside that. But just to wrap it up quickly, I'm trying to render it over here itself. Okay, and it takes a render item function which we are going to create outside. Okay, and guys, this is a best practice. Never use inline functions. Like, do not create things like this here. Like, do not start writing your views, because this is not a like great practice for performance. Okay, always create a render item function outside and then return the JSX. So render item, and the key extractor would be item.id. So it would be, let me just item.id like this. Okay, yeah, but we do not have id, right? So we can keep it like item.name. I forgot to add id in this data, but it's fine. Not an issue, since it is a like dummy category list. And do not worry about that id thing. That's all I want to say. And num columns, it would be 2. And what else? Content container. Okay, let me just go back to that screen. And content container style, we'll add it in a while. Let us just first create this like render item function, because otherwise it will keep complaining. So const render item, and now this render item function, it will take the item. Okay, and we're going to have a pressable again, and inside this pressable we're going to have some text, and the text would be item.icon. Let's see if the icon is showing up or not. Okay, it is not showing. Why? Because we are not returning. So never forget to return your JSX. Now we have the icons, right? But yeah, they don't look quite great. We'll fix that in a while. Let me just add more text. We have to have icon here, and then we have to have the name here. There we go. So where this data is coming from? This is coming from here. So our render item function, in this item, it is each individual object, and from each object how do we extract data is using this, like item dot whatever property name, that notation we use. So we have these two things. Now let us quickly style it. We'll give it a flex 1. Items would be center, and what else? Let's give some padding. Cool. And bg would be white, and rounded excel. Cool. And let's add some shadow. What else? Border gray 200 to make them more visible. And now you can see we do not like they are misaligned. Basically we need to give proper spacing. So for that what we can do is we can give some container style over here. How much should we give? We can give maybe 4 would work. Yeah, okay, so the padding is for this particular spacing, but we need to fix the inside spacing as well. So for that what we can do is we can, I think over here we can do margin to, yeah, see we have a little spacing. And also still I'm not satisfied with what like the shape of it. So for that what we can do is we can, like the shape is uneven, right? So we'll fix that in a while, but let us just style the text for now. It would be text for excel. Cool. And let us style the category name as well. It would be tailwind, margin top 2, text would be center, and text it would be small, font medium. Font medium, I don't think it is needed. Let us still add it. And what else? Text gray 700. Yeah, this looks cool now. And so okay guys, actually these items they were not getting aligned properly, so I thought I had some styling issues in my code, but that was not the issue. The issue was that whenever you assign num columns to, so what happens is a two column, it basically breaks the layout. Okay, so what you need to do is just go to a terminal and hit refresh, just reload the app and it will fix it. Okay, so that's what I did. And you can see now these items they have equal like equal spacing, equal sizes. Okay, so now the layout looks quite great, and that happened because of this particular thing. Like whenever we give this number on the fly, it some functionalities would break. So the quick solution, the only solution I would say for this particular thing is to reload the app. Okay, yeah, so now we have this list rendered. Now what we need to do, now comes the exciting part. So we have this pressable, right? And on press of it, what should ideally happen is we should be selecting the category. So for that what we are going to do is we are going to handle category selection, handle selected category, like this. And we are going to pass the item. Okay, because we have access to this particular item from here, and we are passing this item because we need to know now that which category was being selected by the user. So this is the reason. And now what we are gonna do is we are going to create the method called handle selected category. I will copy it from here itself, const handle selected category. And what we are gonna do is we are gonna console log first selected category, and it would be item, and the selected category, let us call it category itself, not item. So now let us see if we are getting the entire object food. There you go, we have the color, we have the icon, we have the name. Okay, so we have access to this entire category object. Now we can do whatever we want to do with it. Okay, so now we need to navigate it back to the our previous screen, right? This screen, because here we want to show it. So React navigation in that case give us a navigation dot pop2 method, pop2 like this, and here we need to register like call our main app. It was main app or something else, let me just, okay, it was bottom tabs. It was bottom tabs, or yeah. So here write bottom tabs, and after writing bottom tabs you need to basically pass the data in the params, right? Because when you navigate from one screen to another, the benefit is that you can pass additional data while navigating, right? So that is the thing that we are gonna do over here as well. So keep this like this and give the screen name and give the params. What would be the param? It would be category. Okay, now understand guys, I know this might be confusing for you if you haven't done React navigation much. You know, it is easy when you go from like when you, okay, it has also stopped working or what? Let me just save this file and yeah, I don't know why it was stuck. So you know, from this particular screen to another screen, when we go from one screen to another stack based screen, passing data is easy, right? You basically write navigation dot navigate and then you pass additional data inside an object. But here when you want to go back to a previous screen now, which is inside a nested navigation, you need to pass it like this. Okay, so here are two things that are combined. Let me first write it. You are going back to a screen, that's why you are using op2, and the screen is inside nested, that's why this syntax. So you know, in a normal navigation, let me just show you. In a normal navigation you write just like this and then you pass the additional data, okay, whatever it is. Okay, but when you are navigating in a nested screen now, you basically write the screen name and then you pass the category. So this was what I was trying to convey. Okay, otherwise you will get error. So now we are going to navigate screen and we are going to pass category as the data. And of course inside object you might be thinking that we write as key value pair, so you can write like this as well. But you know, in ES6 if the key and value name are same, we can do like this. Okay, and now inside this home screen, no, inside this category screen, we will have access to that category that we are sending. But how? So for that what we are gonna do is, let me just close these methods. We are going to have a use effect method, react dot use effect. Okay, and here we are going to check if route dot params. Okay, let me just get route first, otherwise it will break our code with auto session. Oh god, no. Like this, route dot params dot, what was the name? Category, right? Category. Okay, and also we can add a check over here. If this exists, then we are going to do something, but let me just first explain you this. See, whenever we are passing data from one screen to another, we how do we access it inside that particular screen where we are passing data? We access it using route. This route will contain a params property, and inside this params we can access our whatever name we have given to that. Okay, so this was the syntax that I was trying to show. And now here you can do stuff, but let me just add a dependency array, and inside this dependency array we will add this only, because we want the hook to run as soon as the selected category gets changed. I'm not going into the use effect hook and what is the dependency array. You should you can Google it out if you do not know. But the quick in a quick way, if I want to explain, is that whenever the category changes, we will pass it to this dependency array, and this use effect hook, it will run again, so that we have the latest information. Okay, and now should we console it or what? Yeah, first let us console it now, so that we can have an idea that we are receiving it inside this screen or not. Okay, so let me select family. Okay, yeah, there you go, params. So this params, it is coming from this particular screen, which is our create screen. Okay, so we have it. Now let us quickly create the state for it, because we just don't want to log it to the console. Okay, we want to show it on the UI as well. And for UI, to update stuff on UI, we obviously takes state. So it would be category and set category. Category, and we will have a empty object. Like by default it will be an empty object. We can update it from here, set category, and we can pass this. Now like some of you might again get triggered that why can't you just store it inside a variable like this category and then pass it like this, and then pass this over here. I mean, that is fine too, but do not worry about this. This is a good practice, but it doesn't hurt much if we are passing it directly. Okay, yeah. So now we have updated our state on the initial render. When this create screen would whenever this create screen would be focused on the on the UI, this use effect would be run and we will have our updated category. But now we need to show it over here, right? So for that, what we are going to do is we are going to write the category dot icon and name. Where did we do it? Here. So now we'll do this like this, category dot icon. Or if like there is no category initially, there would be an empty category. So in that case, we would show this wood icon. Okay, now understand this. Like if this category icon user hasn't selected any icon, then what we need to do, we need to show some already pre-filled category, right? So for that we are choosing food as the default category, and here it would be category dot name. Otherwise we'll just show food, and there you go, it got automatically updated instantly. So let me check if I can select any other education. There you go, education is selected. Or let's say socializing. There you go, the icon and the text, it immediately gets changed. So I hope you basically got to know about the pattern. And guys, this particular pattern and the way we are passing data, this is not invented by me. These are the practices that are set by the React navigation library itself. Okay, so do not think that I am inventing another new pattern. Okay, these are completely done by a React native team, a React navigation team, and these are things that were suggested in the talks, so I am following that pattern only. Okay, okay, now what else? Let us just log the data, right? So here till now whatever we are doing is, in the handle add expense, we were just logging amount and title because our category part was not complete. So now what we can do is, if there is not a category, because we need to validate the category also, right? So we would return, and then we will log the uh, let's say, let us just log the category dot name for now. Okay, so let me see if it works. Let's say amount is $20, it was for food, food, and if I add expense, there you go. We have the title, the category, and food. I know you might be wondering that how title and category are same. They are not same. Like I added it over here. Now let me just party with friends. This would make more sense. $200. And let me just socializing. So now there you go. We have amount. Okay. We have title, which I added party with friends, and we have category. Okay. So all things are coming in the console. Now what we need to do? Now we need to add all of this expense over here, right? So how we are going to do that? Okay, now understand. We have two screens. One is create, right? One is create and another one is home. So we are rendering our expenses list inside this home data, home screen basically, okay? But we are creating expenses data inside this create screen. So we need a way so that we can update the list, this particular expense list from here. So in React now what happens is that you have a concept of lifting the state up. So what do we do is, like, let's say I have expense list, okay, and here I am like showing expense list, and I have a setter method as well. Okay, so here let's say this expense list is rendering this particular thing, and because with the help of this setter method we are going to update the list. Okay. Oh god, set list, let me just write it like this. Okay, and this is basically the use state. But like here we need to this set list method, it is in the home screen, but we update the list from this create screen. So how do we pass this from home to this category screen? So there is a concept called lifting the state up, where what we do is we basically this particular state, it would be kept in the screen which is parent of both home and create, so that we can pass the data using props. I know you must be knowing the concept of props. So okay, so let's say we have home screen and we have create screen. Okay, and we need the setter method here, but it is here. Okay, so what we do is parent, we move this particular piece of state, the list and setter method, inside the parent, and then we pass it down to the home or create. Okay, but the thing is that this would get a lot confusing if we do it right now over here. Okay, because again it would be it might lead to prop drilling as well, but this is a concept that you can read more about it, but I won't be following this particular thing. Instead of this, what we are going to do is, there is a thing called context API in React. So we are going to use context API over here, and with the help of context API we can easily pass data in whatever component it is needed. Like you don't have to like lift the state up, move the state here and there. Trust me, it gets confusing if you do that. Instead of that, we will create a context, and then we'll add our data over there and pass it to whatever screen we need it to. So for creating the context, let us now start creating it. So hey guys, before we start writing our context, I have decided to do some minor changes in the code file. So what I did is I created a constant.js file and moved the entire category array in this constant.js file, because we will be needing it globally. Earlier it was written over here in the category screen, right? So you can change this in your code base as well. In this category screen you must be having the category list, if you have been following this tutorial along, and then just copy paste it to this constant.js file. It is created in this src folder. Okay, directly inside this src folder, and then paste it over here. And the other thing that I have done is created a helper.js file, and the reason for that is that we are going to create new expenses, right? We are going to add them dynamically to this list over here. So each expense would need an ID. Of course, that is like very obvious thing, because that's how we that's a best practice to uniquely identify a single element. So for that I have created this method get ID, which will return a new ID in this format with the help of this function. You can go into the details of this function, but if it's fine even if you don't go to it, because let's say instead of this function you are just using a library. So do you go to the details of that library, that how things are implemented under the hood? I mean, it's definitely a good thing to do, but you don't do that, right? We don't go to the implementation details, low level details of the library. So you can consider this function that it is coming from a library itself if you do not want to go into the details of what it does. Okay, and the other one is get date. So you can see here we have dates, right? So in order to generate date dynamically, currently these are coming from our hard-coded list, right? But we need to generate them on the fly, like they should be added dynamically. So we need to add we need to get date as well. So for that I have written this particular code. And if you like, I can explain you this one, because let me just explain it over here. So what happens is JavaScript gives us this inbuilt date module. So if you write like this new date, see what happens over here. See, we got a date, right? But now we cannot show exactly this date over here, right? So what we are gonna do is, let me just set up this quickly. Yeah, so we are going to convert this to a to ISO string. I think yeah, it is. Let me just copy it from here itself so that I can do it fast. To ISO string, though nothing would change right now in the output. Okay, I'm really struggling to resize my window. Let me just do it like this. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we still have this format. Now what we're going to do is we're going to split it. So if we split it, it will convert this string into like an array. Okay, and we have split, right? Yeah, we are going to split it based on this particular t. So whatever parameter you pass to this split method, it will split your string from that particular delimiter. Okay, this is called delimiter, I guess. Okay, so we are gonna pass t because we need to split this half and this half. Okay, so let me just show you the output. See, we have an array now. Okay, and t is gone. Now in order to render this kind of date in this format, what do you think, which part we need to grab it from this array? We need to grab this one, right? So what we're gonna do is I will write 0 like this, and there you go, we have our date. Okay, you can use any date library as well, but I just wanted to do it this way without in the library. In professional code base, you like there are choices. Sometimes you do like this and sometimes you use already built library. I would like always go with the already built libraries because they are enhanced. Okay, but for this particular tutorial we are moving ahead with this method only. Yeah, so let me close this one. Hope you understood what it does. And now we need to get the category color, right? Because you can see over here we are passing the entire category data, which has icon, food, and the like name, but we are not passing the color because we do not have the color. So we need to generate it dynamically. So what would happen is like we'll pass the color of the category from here. Okay, because each category has a predefined color already. You can see it over here. Okay, so we will pass this particular color and it will be received over here, and then we'll loop over this categories array, and we're going to use JavaScript find method, and then we have an arrow function. And like this cat is basically each single item in this categories list, this one. this single item, like all this. And what the importance of find is that it will grab the first item it finds if this condition matches. So let's say you passed a color yellow like this, so it will see that hey, color is yellow, and it will loop over this entire array and see that if any item in this category list has a color of yellow, so it will see okay, the first item has, so it will just return that first item, which is the category, like entire object basically. And once that is returned, it will basically return the category color, because we just want the color, right? We do not want this entire category, we just want the color. So, and if somehow like the category is missing, we will return a fallback value. So I hope you understand what this get category color method does. And let's say if not yellow, let's say you pass this particular color, which is sky blue. So what will happen is, first this particular method get category color, it will loop over this, but it won't find. Then it will loop over this, but it would say hey, the color is pink or whatever it is, tomato I guess. Then for green also it will say no. For this also it will say no. For this also orange it will say no. But as soon as it comes over here, it will see hey, this was the color that the user passed, so I should return this particular object. So over here it will return this particular object. So find basically what it does is it returns the first element that matches the given condition. Okay, so I have explained enough. Now let us move to creating our context. Let me quickly close this file. And for the context, I have created this folder. You can create this in your src, create a context folder, and the naming would be done based on what kind of context you are creating, for what purpose. So we are creating context for expense purpose, so let us name it that as well, expense context.js. Now in order to create context, we have like three things. First, we create a context, so we are going to do that using the create context method, which is given by React itself. Create context, and then we'll like name our context. Let us name it expense context. Okay, like this, and also we are going to export it. Now we need to basically create a context provider. It is just a function that takes a children as a prof. Like this, and it returns up it basically returns a provider. Okay, so you write it like that, expense context dot provider. And this children, it is basically used here like this. Okay, so this is the basic expense provider we have created. Now we need to basically export this also. So like this, export const use expenses, and we are gonna wrap it in our arrow function, use context expense context. Now do not worry if you are not understanding anything, I will explain it once again. What happens is, we create a context first, we have to name it, because if we have multiple contexts like this, then how would we identify? So we have to name it. Then we create a context provider, which is this one, and inside this context provider we pass children. I will tell you what childrens are. And then inside this expense context provider we wrap our children like this. Okay, now we need to export this context as well. So what we do is, we use this particular context custom hook given by React itself, and inside it we pass our context that we have created, this one. Okay, and now we can use anywhere inside our app, we can use it like this, use expenses. So it is basically a standard React practice. They have advised to use like this only, so we can we are going ahead with this. Now this particular children, like this expense, it won't work now because we haven't wrapped it with our app. So what we are going to do is, we are going to come over here and we are gonna wrap that expense provider. Yeah, so we have wrapped this expense provider, right? Now this particular thing is the children that we are calling here. Now you get it. So whatever we wrap our expense provider with, inside it, it becomes the children. So what do we mean by wrapping it? Now this navigation container, the app navigator, it will have access to all the data that we create inside this expense provider. And what data we will create, you will see it just now. So till now our expense context and expense provider, they basically do nothing, right? And we created them to solve the problem of the state the lifting up, because we need to update this list, right? Whenever a user creates a new expense, we need to update that list. So we are trying to solve that problem. So here what we need is, we need a state like this, expenses, and we need a state update function, set expenses. So this is the basic of use state. And initially this would be an empty array, because if the user is landing on this app for the first time, ideally it should be empty, right? And now what else we can do is, we can pass a value prop like this, and we can, now here, whatever data you want your app to consume, we can pass it from here. Okay, and now that the data, let me just write it, data, whatever data you pass over here, with the help of this particular hook, use expenses hook, we will be able to access that. Okay, so this is the main concept. Let me just show you so that you can understand it better, because otherwise it will get confusing. So we are going to pass expenses. Why? Because this expenses list, it needs to be shown over here, right? And other than that, what we need is we need a function which we'll be creating right now. So let us create that function, and we are going to call that function add expense like this, uh, add expense, and let us keep it empty. Let me just pass it like this. All right, now what we need to do, now we need to create a new expense object. We are going to call it new expense, and it will take all the data. Okay, so it will take all the data, which is this data. So let us start creating it. The very first thing that we are going to do is id. It would be get id, and this method will come from the helper file that I showed you in the previous one. Okay, so why was it not getting imported? Get id, yeah, it is getting imported. Get id, and the other thing would be title. So where would this title come from? This title would come from this expense object, which this add expense method would take. So now understand this flow. This add expense method, it will be called over here, and in this screen we have all the access to this entire expense object, right? So can we pass the expense object from this screen to this particular function? Because we are going to call this function in this screen, we can pass the data, right? So let us do that. It would be expense dot title. And do not worry if like the flow is getting confusing for you, because we haven't coded out the whole entire flow yet. So that's why you might be like feeling some gaps. But do not worry, once this flow is will be getting completed, you will understand every bit of it. Then we have amount. So amount also will come from the expense object, right? And then what else we have? We have a category. So category is an object you might have seen till now if you have followed this tutorial. So we will do like expense dot category dot name. Okay, because all of you know that how the expense data look like here. Okay, so this is an object, and we are extracting name from here. And now what else we have to show the date, like this date. So for that also I have created a function get date. It is, yes, and I had explained you this function already what it does. Then we have a color as well. For color, what we are gonna do is, we are not passing color, yeah. So for color also I have made a helper function. So here what you are going to pass is expense dot category dot color. Okay, again see, the category name is coming from expense dot category dot name, the color is coming from expense dot category dot color. Okay, And now what else? We have icon also. So this icon would come from expense dot category dot icon. Okay, now let us again understand what all this data is. See, our category data, it has name, icon and color. So name, icon and color we are adding over here, right? But you can extract the icon and category name from the expense object directly because we have it over here, but we do not have the color, right? So that's why we are trying to create color from the categories array. Okay, you can go ahead and understand this function again, though I had already explained you this. Now what else do we need? Yeah, now comes an important part: updating the list. So how do we update this expense list so that instead of this empty array, it's the data that we are going to add from this form, it gets updated to it. So here, let's see how we can do that. We are going to call this set expenses method, and then we are going to create a copy of expenses list that we already have, and then we are going to pass it the new expense object that we created. So why are we doing this? This is basically the spread operator concept in React, where we create a copy of already existing object so that the old data, it doesn't get like appended with the new data and it doesn't get lost. So whenever you are trying to update an array, you have to follow this pattern. You basically copy the old array and then you append the new data to it. This way our list will be preserved. Okay, so yeah, we have done this and we have already passed this method from here, right? And now instead of this hard-coded expenses list which is coming from over here, the entire story of this hard-coded list will be ended over here. Okay, so from now on we will work with this expenses data. So let me show you how you can do that. Inside this home screen, you are gonna use expenses hook like this. Where it is coming from? It is coming from this use expenses, and now we have access to the expenses list directly from here. Const expenses like this. Okay, and if I log this expenses list, you will see it will be empty, but instead of logging it, I will directly call it. So here we were passing expenses data, which is this hard-coded data, but now we are going to use our list from the context, and now see what happens. See, because it was empty, because the this list expenses list is empty, instead of this function, this particular prop will get triggered and it will call and render this empty list function. And inside this empty list function, we created this long back, right? So this will be shown because there are no items added yet. But now let us try adding item to it. Let me just see item.icon. This there might be some changes in this screen as well, but let us see where does it throws any error. Let me just, okay, let's say $30. What was it for? Travel to Vietnam, and I will add this travel icon, add, and see nothing got added. Why? So now let us debug it. Debug why nothing got added. We are going to, like, this particular thing will be called, and in the expense item card we are, let's see how we are receiving the item. So see, this is the basic concept of debugging. This is how you should debug. like obviously in professional setup there are other tools as well, but since now we have console log, so we are using it. So we have item. Does we have item over here? Let me just refresh it again. Okay, wait, now you why would it get added? I mean, I did a silly mistake, like handle expense, right? This particular function, it is responsible for updating the list, right? But am I calling it anywhere? No, I am not. So what we are going to do is we are going to call it somewhat over here. Okay, so let us do that. Inside this we do not need console log, or let us just keep the console log as well. but over here we are going to use add expense. But first I want it from the use context, right? So let me grab it from there. Use expenses, sorry, use expenses. It is add expense method, right? And now on this add expense, now here what do we need to pass? Now I was telling you that we need to pass the where did it go? We need to pass the expenses data, right? This function would be called in this screen. Now this is the thing that we are doing. So where did it go? Add expense over here. So now what we are going to pass is we are going to pass the object title. It is title only. Then we have amount. It is amount only. And then we have the category. So I would pass the entire category object. Oh, what did I do? Yeah, and now you can see one thing, like in ES6 what happens is if the key and property name are same, you can just pass a single value instead of passing like this, right? So what you can do is remove it and remove it. So this becomes short and concise. Cool. Now we are calling handle expense, and then we are calling add expense inside it. Now it should ideally work. Add expense would be called here, and then it would be basically creating a new expense object, and then it would update the list. So let us see if this works now. $30 travel to Vietnam. It would be travel. There you go. Whoa, successfully added, right? So now where is this data coming from? It is not coming from your hard-coded list. Like, it is not coming from here. It is coming from the actual expenses data which we created in our context. Shall we create a new one? Let's say $40, and it was to purchase books and like this education. And if I add expense, there you go. See, we have dynamically adding our icons. We are dynamically adding the category color, the price, and the date is getting created, right? So see how dynamically and how beautiful this is. And all this is being done with this particular object. This is getting updated every time to this expenses list. So how cool this is, right? This is how you can beautifully use context. Honestly, if you're using this context API for the first time, it might sound a little confusing, but do your research, do your homework, go to the React docs and read about it, then again build this. But one thing that is missing from this screen is that this data, you can see it is not getting updated, right? It is still coming from the old expenses list, not from this particular list, because 30 plus 40 is not $1850, right? So what did we do wrong? So inside this home screen, here you can see we are still referencing the expenses data, which is this old data, but we need to use this particular data, right? And so we will replace it like this. And okay, so now it is saying total spend dot to fixed is not a it's not a function. So I think total spend is coming as undefined maybe, or let me check, but ideally it shouldn't come undefined because you are passing from here and we're getting it over here. Okay, and yeah, okay, so I think the reason for that is that in the create screen we are taking it as it is getting as a number, as a string, sorry, not a number. And so over here in this expense context, what we need to do is we need to convert this in a number like this. And now it should fixed, I guess. Okay, we lost the data because we are not saving it, right? We'll fix that as well. So currently what happening is we created a context, we added the data, but as soon as we reload the app, the data is lost because we are not saving it to a backend, because we do not have backend. or we are neither saving it to the local storage, which is the device storage, right? So we are going to use async storage for saving it so that our data is persisted even after a full reload. But for now, let us just see if our issue is fixed or not. $30 travel to Vietnam, and it is travel at expense. Yeah, now see the the spend so far got updated. Let me add some more. $40 party with friends, and it would be entertainment at expense. There you go, we have $70. So now this complete functionality is working fine, but there are few fixes that we need to do. And one of those fixes is that as soon as I reload this app, the data would vanish. So we need to basically need to fix this as well. So let me just show you what I'm trying to say. If I press R and reload the app, so see, our data is lost, right? But we had added to expenses. So where did they go? They vanished because they are not saved to a persisted memory. Okay, so we need to save them to a persisted memory, and for that we are going to use async storage, which is a package in React Native itself. So I have already downloaded the package. You can download it by running this particular command, and you can google it out as well, like React Native async storage. Do not forget to add this at the rate, otherwise you will run into errors. And once this is installed, come back to your context file. So how do we actually fix this? So we are going to fix this by creating two use effect. So these two use effect will basically help us to save and load our data from a string storage. But let me show you, instead of talking, let me show you how it would be done. So for that, what we are going to do is, as I said, we are going to use effect like this, and we will pass an empty array to both of them for now. We will do some changes in a while. So this one is for getting data from, let me just write as a comment, get data from storage, async storage in our case, save data to storage. Okay, so these are the our two helper methods, you can say, because we need to move out of React, so that's why we are using use effect. Now how do we actually save it? So for saving it, what we are going to do is we are going to create a function get data, and this would be an async function because this is an asynchronous operation that we are going to do. So over here what we are gonna do is, first I will use a try catch. Now over here what we are going to do is we are gonna call async storage dot get item, and we need to pass the key. So data in async storage is stored in key value format. Okay, so the key would be expenses, which makes sense. And okay, this is for get item. Yeah, so if we are trying to get item, we just need to use this key to get the data. We do not need to pass any additional parameter. And then we are going to store it. I mean, it would return something, right? So what would it return? It would be stored expenses. And now we'll see if there the stored expenses, if they actually exist, which means they are not null. So in that case we are going to update our state, and it does make sense, right? What if like no data is there? Why would you update your state with the no data expenses list? So that's why we are passing this check, that if the stored expenses is not null, which means that there is something that exists, then we are going to use set expenses. Okay, and we are going to use json.parse, and we'll pass stored expenses to that. Cool. So our this loading data is done, and here we can write a line that we can handle the error console. Let's use console error instead. failed to load expenses from storage, like this, and show the error. Other than that, we're gonna now call this get data, like this. Yeah. So, and see, it I think it got the data from a string storage itself. Let me just change the key so that we work with the fresh data, because this one I was trying while building out this tutorial long back, so that's why it is coming from that. Let's say expenses list. Let's keep it like that, and if I reload, I think the data would be gone. Yeah. Okay, so our key is expenses list. Now what else do we need to do? So now we need to store the data, right? So for storing the data, what we're going to do is we're going to create another use effect, which we have done, but we need to create the like setting up functionality. So we'll do that right here. So for that, what we are going to do is it would be like const save expenses. We'll create a function save expenses. Yeah, it's fine, I think. And again, it would be an asynchronous function, and we're gonna use try catch again. So it would be async, and we'll get await async storage dot set item, and here we are going to set our key, which is expenses list, like this. And we need to pass the data as well, like what data we want to store over here, right? So for that, what we're going to do is we need to first stringify the data, and it would be our expenses list, and then we are gonna call this over here, call this function. But before that, I want to enlighten you with something. We are doing two asynchronous operations here, right? So this all this code looks very correct logically, right? Load once and save one change, but this is the code that can cause a bug, and the reason for that is we do not know which of them would run first, right? Because these are asynchronous operations, and asynchronous operation you cannot guarantee that which would run first. What if what if this set item, it gets called first, but it would see that there is nothing, uh, like sorry it let's say the set item got called first, but our data is empty, so it will save the data to an empty data, and the data would be lost, the earlier data, right? So by the time the load effect finishes, it's too late, and the save effect would have already win the race and wiped out our data. So the solution for that is we are going to use a loading state, and let me show you how would it fix the data. But let us first just use that. Set is loading, and initially it would be true. I'll tell you why. Okay, and yeah, first we are going to make it false, like over here. False. And this whole thing, it would be wrapped with a check that if loading is not going on, if is loading is not going on, only then we will save our data. And then over here we will call our function save expenses, not express. Cool. I think everything is fine. Okay, there is something wrong, I guess. We have save expenses and I'm calling it over here, then why it is complaining? Okay, my bad. We need to call it inside it. Cool. So now what we need to do is we need to like now understand. So this use effect, it will run on the initial load. Whenever this component mounts, it will run, okay, after the component is mounted. And this will also run after the component is mounted, but we need to make it run only when the expenses list is changed. So we will pass that as a dependency to it, expenses. Cool. Because whenever this expenses list would be changed or updated, or whenever we add expense, this use effective hook, it would get triggered, and then the new that the data would be saved. Okay. Because in the expenses list we'll have our updated data, so we will update our expenses list. So, and now this we were talking about this particular check, right? So now see, so initially we are doing is loading to true. Okay, so what would happen is this, on the initial load this would not run, and we want it to not run because we do not want to save empty list. Okay, because initially the expenses list it is empty, and by passing this check we are restricting this function to run. But as soon as the like data is loaded, let's say this particular piece of code is run successfully. Okay, now we are satisfied that hey, we have loaded data from a sync storage. Now we can do set loading to false. So once this set loading is done to false, now over here it would be false, right? It would come as false, but we have a not operator, so it would make it true. And if this is true, this particular code, in that case it would run, and now it is safe to run it over here. Okay, so this is how we can use this. And now let us test if our data is persisting or not. I hope I was able to explain it. If you do not understand, you can do a little more researching about this pattern. Okay, these are basically safeguards to protect our data to not get overridden. Now let me add one more. It was, let me show the check the category, shopping. Let us keep it as shopping. Bought clothes, add expense. Let me add another one, or let me just first test it out. I will reload the app. There you go. Our data is successfully persisted now. No matter how many times you reload the app, it would stay on the UI. It won't get lost. Why? Because you are fetching it from the string storage itself. We have a persisted store basically, which is persisting our data. Okay. So let us just add another one. Let's say party with friends, and it would be socializing. There you go. Again, let me reload the app, and our data is still persisted. So okay, so this was the fix that I wanted to do, and because it was critical, we do not want our data to get lost. Now we are going to move ahead to this insight screen, where we will get an insight about all our budget that we have spent so far along with the categories, because that is an important part of an expense tracking app, right? So now let us move that to the insight screen. But before working on this insight screen, I want you to have a look on its UI so that you can understand better what all things we are building and what all libraries we are going to use. So see, we are going to use a library called React Native Pie Chart, React Native Gifted Chart. It is a super awesome library with the help of which we can build a lot of, these insightful diagrams. So I will show you the library in a while, but let us just focus on this UI. It has a title, spending summary. Then it has a donut chart. It is called a donut chart, and it has labels, and all these labels are percentage related. So you can see on food, if a user had spent almost $500, that's 80% of his total expense. So here it will show this, like the majority of the color is yellow, right? So it is 87%. So in this way you get a visual indicator of how, in what way you are spending your money. The phone and internet bill, it is 20 like 5%, so it is showing 5%, and the rest, which is education, it is 9%. Okay, so in this way only we are going to show insights in our own application. So let me show you the library that we're going to use. It is React Native Gifted Charts. Okay, so it is an amazing library with almost 66k thousands weekly downloads, and it has some amazing features. You can like fully customize your visual diagrams. So it has like these charts, these bar graphs, and see these kind of graphs. These are quite visually appealing. Okay, it has donut charts, bar graph, pie charts, and whatnot. Okay, so this is the library that we are going to use, and we are using Expo. So let us just quickly install whatever dependencies it have plus the main library. So I will just copy this command like this, and I will move to my terminal. Okay, let me just minimize my browser window. And here is my terminal, and I will just open a new terminal in the VS Code itself and paste this command. Don't forget to like miss this dependencies, otherwise your code might break. The dependency, the React Native gifted charts library might not work properly if you do not install the peer dependencies. So the library has been successfully installed. Now let us see a basic demo of it. Okay, so I have closed all the terminals, and let us see a basic use case. So whenever you are working with any third-party packages, just go to their documentation like this and start reading how we can do a basic usage. So here they have written usage. So we are just going to copy this particular data and paste it inside our inside screen. Okay, not here, my bad, here. And then we need a pie chart basically. Okay, so I'm copy pasting this over here, and it is showing error because of course we haven't imported it. Pie chart from React Native pie chart, not React Native pie chart, my bad, I am still getting confused in the two libraries. It's React Native gifted charts like this. Now let us see if, there you go, we have our pie chart rendered on the screen. So now how are these colors coming, what are these like how it is divided? This is divided on the basis of these values. Okay, 50, 80. So let's say if I do this as 80, it will change, see. Okay, if I do it as 10, see, the 10 purple one. Okay, so this is how it is getting changed. And this data you can arrange it in, it is not necessary that you need to just pass this value thing. There are a lot more examples which you can explore. For that, let us go to this example, like their GitHub, and let us just explore some examples. It has React Native gifted charts, and here are the examples. So we need for pie chart. So see, it has so many examples. Simple pie. So here you can see the pie data. It has, you can pass your own colors, you can pass your own text, you can pass your own values. It is highly customizable. Okay, so this was the basic thing that I wanted to show you. And you can see how do we, this is a simple pie chart as of now, but in our UI I show you that it is, we need to render a donut chart, right? So for that, what you can do is you can pass a prop called donut, so it will turn it into a donut chart. Let me show you. If over here, if I just write donut, see, it become a donut chart. Okay, so donut is basically like this one, and we'll customize it. Do not worry, I'm just showing you the basic stuff. And now let us close this. Now let us start working on our inside screen. So the very first thing that we are going to do is we are gonna make a heading over here, spending summary. Okay, and then we're going to style it with Tailwind, and it would have a text of 3 XL. Yeah, it is bigger. Font would be bold, text would be center, and it would be red, or for now let us keep it red only. I will see what color would be better suited. And then we have a spending summary, and now we have our pie chart already rendered, but is not getting centered the text. Okay, I made a mistake over here, text center. And also we need the padding from both, so I'm gonna use Y. or you can use margin as well, but okay, let us just use margin. And now we need to basically adjust this pie chart, so let us create a view around it like this, and it would have some stylings. Margin vertical we have given, so we do not need it. We'll just keep it at center. Yeah, it is at now center. And now what we do is show text pro, but show text won't have any effect because we do not have any text as of now in this data, right? So let us just eliminate it for now. We will add props once we are actually working with our own data. So yeah guys, this was the basic what do we say, basic demo of what this library does and how we can show our data. Now we are going to work with our own data, so let's start working. But where is our data? You might be asking. Hope you haven't forgot it. Our data resides in this expense context over here, right? So now let us, and you know how we can access this data now? We can simply access this data using this use expense hook. Use expenses hook anywhere. So let me call it expenses, right? And let us eliminate this data. Yeah, so it is throwing error because we have deleted data. Do not worry, we will fix it in a while. And now guys, see, I cannot just pass this expenses data just like that, because I need to show this data in a processed format. Like we need to we need to categorize our expenses as per their category, right? What all things we spent, how much we spent. So I created a helper function. Let me show you helper over here. Do not worry, you will get this helper function as well. So this is process data for pie chart. What it does is it basically, it basically first sum the total spending that we did over here. Okay, so if the spending is 0, it would return an empty array. But if there are some spendings, so it will use the JavaScript reduce method, and then it will basically categorize the data as per the category. Okay, so the spending would be done as per the category, and then it will loop over it and extract all this data: amount, percentage, category info. Let me just make the screen big. Yeah. Okay, so and then it will return this all data. This is the data that we need to create our pie chart, donut chart basically. So I'm not explaining this in much detail because you can assume that this is coming from some library. Okay, so it is good that if you go into the more details of it, understanding what all logics it have. But I am not explaining everything in detail because it will unnecessarily stretch the video length. Instead, let us focus on the code development part. Okay, so we are going to use this process data for pie chart. It will return us the pie chart data. Okay, so let us start working with it. And this pie chart data, let me show you what it has. It has the name, amount, value, color, and text. Okay, so let us quickly start working with it. So I will call process data for pie chart like this, and it takes the expenses list. Okay, because how otherwise it will categorize. It will categorize with the data that we pass. So pie chart data. Okay, and now we are going to pass this pie chart data where? Here inside this data. Now let us see. Okay, yeah, see, we have two expenses: shopping and socializing. So you can see these colors, over here. So it is almost in a 40 to 30 ratio, hence our pie chart is showing in that way only. But we will customize it, do not worry. So now what we can do is we have text inside this pie chart data now, so we can pass a show text. There you go, we have 43% and 57%. So this the text, it is coming from the this function itself here. Okay, so whatever data I'm going to use here, do not worry that where this data come from. It is definitely coming from this. So our show text is done. Now I can pass other props like text color. Let's keep it white for everything. Now it is more visible, and we can keep an inner radius. It would be 70. Yeah, so it is more bigger, but I think the default one was nice. Let us keep it 50. Yeah, this one is good. And now what else we can do? We need to basically show it in a more, like we need to show more details, right? 43. Let me just grab the UI again. Okay, so the UI is okay. The UI is this much only. Like we are showing the labels, the percentages. So I guess that's fine. But now we need to render this as well. So let us work on that quickly. So for that, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use a flat list over here like this. Okay, not this one. And then I'm gonna use data, which is pie chart data. Okay, and I'm gonna use render item, and it would be render list item. We'll make this function in a while. And we have a key extractor probe. It would take item, and it would be item dot name. Okay, and it is complaining that render list item doesn't exist. Of course it doesn't, so let us create that list item. And it will basically return a view. It will get access to the item, and then it will return a view. Okay, let me just fix my editor once. Okay, if we are using curly brackets, we need to add return statement explicitly view. Okay, and now we need to just style this view. I will quickly add the styling. Let's row items would be center, justify, between, and padding would be 4, border B, border gray 200. Okay, so you can see a slide item is there, but it is not clearly visible because we have not added much content to it. So let us create another view, and what are we going to do is, to this view also we are going to attach some style. We flex row items center. Okay, and then again there would be another view. So the style for this view would be conditional. It would take an array because that's how we use conditional styling. It would be width 4, height 4, rounded full, and margin right 3. And now we're going to pass a text which is item name. There you go, we have sh and so. Now I do not okay, these are the categories, but why are they not coming? Okay, I got it. uh so for that, what we need to do is background color. Okay, it would be like this, background color. It would be item dot color. Cool. And what else do we have? We are going to style this as well. Text would be base text gray 700. Okay, and what else do we need is Along with this view, this particular view, we need another view here. Okay, and here we are going to first render text, because if I start styling the view, it gets confusing like what we are styling. So here it would be item dot amount, so we're going to use this dollar sign. AMOUNT dot to fixed. So here you can see we have our amount being shown, and we need another text. Basically it would be for item dot value. So you can see the value is basically the pricing. Okay, we do not need the dollar sign here. It would be like the percentage of the you got it right, like $40 we spend, it is 57%. Okay, and the $30 we spend, it is 43%. So we are showing the percentage over here. And what else do we need is, I don't know why the styles didn't apply over here. What is the issue? We are doing flex row item center. I just need to fix this, and I know I did a mistake. We need to move it outside. Okay, my bad. Like this. And of course this is just a dummy view, right? We are not passing any content, so we can remove this and we can make it self-contained, like self-closing. See, now it is fine, right? So my bad, I basically added this inside this only, which is not a correct UI approach. Okay, so now this is done, like this flat list is done. So let us start adding more data. $40 it is for, let me show any category, healthcare. Let me add more, let's say $100 for what, housing repair. Yeah, so we have this for data, and now see how beautiful it looks, right? See, 48% in housing, because you spent $100, so it was the most spent category, so that's why it is coming bigger. And the other are adjusting as per the amount we have spent. But this screen, it is not fully completed yet, because we need to style these insights as well. So let us quickly do that. I will add a style prop, and I will call tailwind method over here, and then we'll push it to the end, items end. Okay, so they are pushed to the end. And now what else we can do is we can add some styling to this text as well. Tailwind, and it will be text base, font would be bold, and text would be gray, 800 maybe. Yeah, this looks a lot better, right? We created a contrast. And now again we will add to this tailwind, text small, text gray, 500. Cool. So we added a good contrast over here. Now this looks a lot better. But with this spending summary as well, we are going to do the same, where it is spending summary over here. Instead of red, let us just keep it gray. Cool. Now it's better, or maybe 600. Cool. Okay, so now this is almost done. But the background of this screen, let us try changing the color of that background. background. So it would be style tailwind. Let's keep it pure white maybe. Yeah, that is perfect. And now you can see it is not stretching till the end, right? So maybe we can add a flex one. Yeah, now it is perfect. Okay, so this is what I wanted to create. And now one thing that is left is these icons, and we do not need these headers, right? Bottom tabs, I personally am not liking them, so let us remove them. So for that, what we are going to do is I'm going to my app navigator, and we are rendering the bottom tabs over here, right? So here what we can do is we can do screen options, and screen options and header shown, we'll set it to false. Okay, nothing worked. Okay, I think it needs to be added over here. Yeah, my bad. So it needs to be added to the main stack navigator. Okay. Now what else do we need is, see, in now in that entire all the screens, this is getting messed up, right? In the create as well, in the insights as well. So first let us just fix this inside screen. So for that, what we do is generally we have a safe area context, okay, safe area view, sorry. So in iOS, it basically helps to get to render the content in a safe area. So it won't exceeds the notches and these timers. This is basically called the notch. So it won't got stuck in this. Okay. So for that we used safe area view. So let us use this safe area view from React Native like this, and now you can see we have a line cutting it, right? So what is saying is that safe area view is deprecated. So in the latest release, safe area view has been deprecated. Instead we can use React Native safe area context library. So let me show you that. So let us install that library. It is npm I React Native safe area context. Hit enter and it would be installed. Yes, it is installed. Now instead of this safe area view, it is being imported from React Native, right? So we are not going to import it from here. Instead what we are going to do is we are going to import it from this safe area, React Native safe area context library. See, like this. Okay, and now we need to complete it. It is breaking from the bottom like this, and there you go. See, it got pushed down from this notch, right? Now it's look a lot cleaner. Okay, so this is how you can fix it now, but we have to fix this in the create screens as well. So what we are gonna do is, let's go to create. Let me just copy this particular command line and I will import it like this, and wherever we are using the main view now over here, so just replace this with safe area views, as simple as that. Okay, this is not working. Safe area view has been already declared. Okay, it was all, I had already imported it, so remove it, refresh the app and go to create screen. See, it is also fixed now, right? And similarly we're gonna fix this for the home screen as well. It is the root, it is the root view, right? Yeah, so for that we are gonna use safe area view from React Native safe area context. Here it is, and I hope it is getting aligned properly from the below as well. Yes, there you go, we have fixed this as well. So now it looks a lot better, right? We have got rid of the automatic header that was coming, that was saying bottom tabs. Now we got rid of it, and our text is also getting aligned properly. Yeah, so one fix is done. Now the second one is that one I wanted to show you that you might face while building this app is, let's say I'm using this category. It is a default category, right? So let's say I enter amount food 20, like whatever, let's keep it 20, food party. Okay, and I will, this is the default category, so I will just add expense. But now you see the data is missing. Okay, so why it is happening? So why it is happening? Because this data, it is not able to get passed over here, because inside this category it gets default to empty. So we need to give a default data to it. And what default data can we give? Like, let me explain it properly. Like here we are entering the food. Where are we here? So instead of renting the icon and food like this with using the or operator, what we can do is we can pass the default inside this object itself. So let me show you. Name it would be food, and icon would be the burger icon. Let me copy it from here. Hopefully it would get copied, and yeah, okay. And now what we're gonna do is we are gonna use this category dot name and category dot icon. We can remove from here, and you can remove from here because we have already have default icons now, default icon and default name. So now if let me just reload the app. If you try to create with the default thing, $30 food party, and I will keep it as it is. Now let me add it. Now you can see we are not missing any data, right? We have the icon and the text food party and the category as well, which is food. So this was the fix that I wanted to have. And you can give a default color also as well. I think it is not taking the color, but let us keep that as an assignment. Maybe you can figure it out how you can add color. Just to give you a hint, you have to basically you will have to pass it from here, I guess. Okay, so that it has a color value as well. So try it, maybe you can fix it. And now what else do we need? We need to move this icons, right? We'll go to this app navigator and let me check if I have installed if the expo vector icons is already installed. Okay, it is not, but let us try if it would work or not. So we need to give this home an icon, right? So how do we give icon is by passing a props option, and here we will add tab bar icon like this, and it would be an arrow function. Okay, and we will destructure what all data we need the color, we need the size, and we need a focus state. Okay, and now how we will render the icon here. Okay, so currently I do not have that library installed, so we will have to install this and design. So we have a library called expo vector icons. So you can write npm I, then expo slash vector icons, and it will install this library. And yeah, this is done. And now what we are gonna do is, let me show you. So now we are going to find some icons, expo vector icons, from this website, and the name of this icon would be home maybe, and design. Let us import this here, and now we'll copy this and we'll simply paste it over here. I will explain you what I'm doing. Let us see if it works. Yeah, there you go. The home is being shown. Okay. Now for this create screen also, what we are gonna do is, and name, we what we're gonna do is we'll copy this options object, paste it over here, but the icon name would get changed. It would be plus circle, I guess, plus circle, and it is followed by O. I guess it is plus circle maybe. Okay, we have not, yeah, but it is and design only. Let me check. Yeah, this seems good. Why I was using plus the different. Okay, plus circle. There we go. We have our plus icon as well, right? And now for the third one, we are going to create insights. Let us copy this object, and it would be the insights icon. So we need a pie chart, I think. Pie chart, would it work? Why they are not working? I'm not getting it. It is and design from expo vector icons and design. Okay, that's fine. Let me just first close this. Oh, let me refresh. It is still not working. Why? Is it pie chart? Okay, now it is working. I don't know why. I think they have updated it or something. Or insights. Okay, let it be. It is working using a hyphen, so we'll keep it that way. And let me just close this one. But we need to make this look a little better. So what we can do is on the focus. Let me see how it is working. Yeah, the icon color also needs to be changed, right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to pass the color from here. Now see, on the active tab it is getting changed. Color, it would be color. Same for this one. Okay, so now understand, if we are on this tab, which is the active tab, it is this color is blue. As I go over here, it shows that other two tabs are like they are not focused, but this is the focus tab, so it has a changed color. Similarly with this, so this looks a lot better now, right? And now you can see we have so much of data added, how this donut chart looks so great, right? So this is the thing that I wanted to do. Our span so far is also updated, so and everything is working perfectly fine. So I hope you like this video. So hey guys, before I wrap this tutorial completely, after the post, after recording the entire tutorial, I came to realize that there are two minor fixes that needs to be done. So let me tell you that very quickly. Here you can see we are once we add the once we add the expense, we are setting amount to null, set title to empty string, and then we are setting the category to empty string. But this is creating some problem, so let me show you. Party with friends, and if I say entertainment and if I add expense, so the expense is successfully added, that is fine. But once you go over here, you can see we have the default icon and default category name that has been lost. So that is because we are setting it as empty string. So instead of this, what we can do is we can paste an object over here like this. So name is food, icon would be this, and color would be this. So now if I save it and if I reload the app again, okay, it will break. So let me just restart this app once again. And hopefully now we will see this food as a default category. Let's go. Here you can see now it is coming up, right? So let me add another one. Let's say $12 and choose some category. Let's say it was let's say miscellaneous. uh, let's say random spending, and if I add it, so it got added, right? And now let us go to the create. Now we have our category preserved. Okay, so this was the fix that I wanted to show you. And one more is there, that our date, it is not getting updated. Like it is today is not this year is not 2024. The day I'm recording this year is not 2024, and the date is also correct. I'm recording it in the month of September. So let us just fix that as well. Here once you come, we can see we have hard coded the date, right? So this is not how it should be. So it would be item dot date, I think. Yeah, now it's perfect. So it is 21 of September 2025. So now our date is also fixed, and the category thing is also fixed. So now I can say that this tutorial is complete, and I hope you really like this tutorial, and I hope you learned something new. And if like you really found this tutorial helpful, do not forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and definitely you can comment your queries if you have any. I will definitely try my best to resolve them. So I will be back with the next one. Thank you.